G'day and welcome back to another episode of Tomo's Tune-Ups. We are back on the 850 gearbox. Today we're going to start the reassembly process and we're going to go through and we're going to install each of these new components and then start putting the engine back together. Okay, so first thing, let's put some gloves on because this seems to get so damn dirty lately. I've been leaving fingerprints all over every switch inside the house and my wife's been murdering me every single day. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be fitting is the new baulk rings. So we're going to go through and assemble each one of these onto the gear hub. So we'll take that one off. So there is one here. So as you can see, I'll just have a look right here. So see how it's sitting flush up against the dog teeth here? There needs to be a bit of a gap. So it needs to sit proud. So what that means is if we grab the new one, it'll only go on one way because it's tapered on the inside. So if we just fit that on here and push it all the way down until it stops, that's pretty much home. So you can see how different this one is here. So there is a gap. That's probably a bit excessive because it's probably not on 100%. But if you have a look at this side here, there is a gap between the baulk ring and the dog teeth here. So there needs to be a gap between there. If there isn't, it's going to be causing synchronization issues. So we need to fit the new detent springs and bearings to this, which we will do that in a moment. We are just going to keep going through and replacing the other rings. So this one here for third gear is quite stiff. That just pops straight off. We're just going to grab the new one, slide it straight in here. Ah, there we go. So that one's even better actually. So that one sits a bit more flush. It is a bit more proud, which is good, and that's what you want to see. If you're ever unsure whether it's going on the right way or not, or if you need to have a specific gap, consult your owner's manual and then determine what the gap needs to be. If it's too little, you likely need to replace it. All right, so we grab our hub for fourth gear. We just slide that one straight on there like that. And this will only go one way. So if you have a look, on one side, it has a little spout, just this bit here. And then on the other side, it's completely flat. So if it goes on the wrong way, it won't actually engage and you won't be able to put the assembly together. So make sure that lines up everywhere, turn it to where it needs to be. And that way we have the gears directly set up in line with where they need to be. Now, there needs to be another baulk ring on the other side. So we're going to fit it there. And then we're going to grab our new bearing that's going to go in the end of here. So I took this one out. That sits inside here. So this baulk ring is absolutely toast. I went through and tested every single one of them. One of them was okay. And by okay, I mean there was probably a Mickey hair between the baulk ring and the dog teeth itself. But they were pretty much all cactus. Okay, so inside here there is a needle roller bearing that just needs to slide directly inside here, and they should be quite easy to be removed as well as reinstall. Alright, so it appears that the idler gear bearing for the first motion shaft, which is this one here, this one's supposed to go in here. That should just slide straight in, but because they've supplied us with the wrong one, we're going to have to get one of those, but we can still keep reassembling the gearbox. So this one will go directly on the end here, and as you can see, the early type, it was a bit smaller than the current type, so they've obviously supplied us the wrong one. I'll get a new part sent tomorrow, and then we can continue going with it. So what we're going to do in the meantime is that we're going to grab this hub, and we're going to install our new first gear ring. So this one here. So as you can see, especially in the photos down below, that it is significantly different to the one that we had originally, which came off the car. So this gear is only going to go on one way. So the larger cone is going to be facing the end of this shaft. So it'll sit directly on there like this. Obviously, once we put the hub on, it'll sit a bit different, but that's how it's going to go. So it's got the leading edge here where it's going to be engaging first gear. So once again, if you're ever unsure of which way stuff goes, trial fit it beforehand. That way you're going to know exactly. So we're just going to grab this. We're going to slide that on there and just make sure that it not only lines up, but we get it facing the right way to begin with. So that's exactly how it goes. So these little recesses here inside the Sinclair hub is going to line with the baulk rings just there. Fantastic. So now what we're going to do, we'll just move that gear set off to the side. We will then grab our new detent bearings and springs, we can go ahead and install those like we did previously. Slide it all the way in around the outside there. And then we're just going to slide this directly in here. So this will probably only sit in here one way. So as you can see, the depth of it isn't overly great. And because it is closer to this side than what it is this one, we're going to have to do it from the bottom. So that's no drama. We just slide it in down through the bottom here. Just wiggle it. There we go. Cool. So now she's sitting in there. Grab your ball bearings just one by one. Slide them in down the side. So that way they line up with the springs. Okay, so once they're in there, all we're going to do is just give this a bit of a twist. I'll just push that bearing in just a little bit more. It doesn't seem like it's all the way in there. Ah, there we go. So just send it home just a little bit more. And we just give that a twist. All right, so just pushed it in, took a little bit of force, but we got there in the end. Now we want to be grabbing our first gear. So remember, the leading edge here is going to be facing outward. So we just want to line that up. Probably want about, so I just want to line it up there. And then we're just going to be pushing down on the synchro hub. There we go. And then voila, as they say, and she's jumped straight on there. All right, so inside here is also another detent. So just where my finger is, hopefully you can see just inside there, there's another detent that we need to fit onto the main shaft. It is going to be a little bit firm to get on, but with a little bit of force, we'll be able to get it on there. So just grab our main shaft, and we're just going to be sliding it directly onto here, making sure that we line up the synchro hubs. Sorry, making sure that we line up the baulk rings with the gear. Okay, so she is on there. All right, so that's pretty much our first gear assembled, along with the second with the baulk ring in there. We also have our third gear baulk ring and our fourth gear. So like I said, we are still waiting on that bearing that just sits inside here. So without that bearing, that gear is just going to be flopping around and it's just going to be causing too much movement. So we can get a new bearing tomorrow, hopefully, and get it sent out. So what we need to do next is I'll bring the camera down and we'll start to reinstall the selectors, which is this here. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is mock up our selectors, so these here. So because we have new selector forks, which is this here, we just need to refit it onto here, align where the bolt needs to go through, and then we can mark it. Now, because this one has actually got a bit of wear on it, so you can actually see where it's going to be sitting, we're pretty much guaranteed that once it's lined up, with the marks on either side, it will align itself quite well. Therefore, we don't really need to mark it, but for good example purposes, we can go through and just mark it anyway. So this will only go on one way. So we just keep winding it until it stops. But just make sure you're super careful with these. You don't want to be forcing it, otherwise you're going to be destroying it, and then you're going to have a really bad time. So it just comes straight from this side all the way through. Now in the bottom of the gearbox there is a detent spring and bearing, so we just need to compress that to be able to get it in, or alternatively you can just take it out altogether, slide the shaft in, and then you'll be right to start reassembling it. Okay, so I've just finished putting this selector fork in. We're just going to grab our spanner, tighten it up, and then tighten the lock nut. Then we can reinstall the next selector fork. This is a very, very fiddly job, so probably best for me just to skip forward and get it done, and then I can hopefully show you towards the end. Alright, so I've finally tightened up the lock nut on that one. So now we're just going to go and reinsert the next selector all the way through, drive it all the way home. So that's going to sit in there just like that. Now we just need to grab our new selector fork, which is going to be this one here, and then we're just going to fit it onto the shaft. Now this one is significantly easier because we have the opening for the diff as well, so that'll just sit directly in here. Once we get it to a point we can actually get it in there. Alright, so yeah, this one is significantly easier because we have the opening for the diff, so it'll enable us to actually line it up properly and not have to worry about trying to stick our hands in to really tight places to get everything all lined up. And alright, so it's probably a little bit easier to see down in here. So down below, just down here below where my finger's pointing, there is the lock nut and the bolt. So what we need to do is align that with the shaft. That way when we turn the shaft up and down, the rod is going to move. Okay, so the next part is going to be quite easy simply because we don't have the full assembly of the gear set. So what we're going to do is just grab it and we're going to slide that one in first. Okay, so slide it just down in there, and we're just going to allow it to sit where it wants to naturally sit inside the selector forks itself. You might just need to give those a little bit of a guide just to prevent them moving around. So there we go. Alright, so we are home. Now next thing we need to do is grab the bearing, and we need to push the bearing in. Alright, so we'll just grab our bearing and we're just going to push that one all the way in, right down to the very end until it comes to a complete stop. So what we need to do is just get a punch and just apply a bit of pressure around the inside to drive it all the way home. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is just reinstall the strainer, and then we can install the lay shaft. Now, I probably should have done this before I put that main shaft in, but I'm sure if we just give it a bit of a jiggle left and right, we can probably get it in there. Alright, there we go. Okay, cool. So we just line it up there with where we need it to be, and then we grab our feed pipe as well, and that will sit directly down in here. And then on the opposite side of the casing there will be a hole in which this side will go to, which is just down below here where my finger is. Okay, so we're just going to put these bolts back in here for the strainer, which is going to hold it up. So just grab your ratchet and then just nip those both up. Once they're tight, we can then install the next pipe. Now remember, these don't need to be overly tight because it's only just holding the bottom of the strainer. Plus also you have these lock tabs here as well, so we're just going to bend those over just to make sure she's not going to go anywhere. So grab yourself a pair of pliers and you can generally just bend it up from the side, applying a bit of force. Yep. And then same on the other side as well. Now, a really cool upgrade that you can do is replace this oil pickup pipe with a center pickup, which will just enable it to have a better flow, especially if you're deciding to race. But because this is an 850, you're probably not going to be racing around corners doing Mach 3 around Mount Panorama, so there's no point in us upgrading it. So I'm just going to reinstall these bolts that hold the detent springs in for the selector shafts. So the next thing is we're going to grab a new lay shaft. We've also got a new pin that goes through the middle. So this one here, we're going to apply a little bit of assembly lubricant on there and then put new bearings in each end of the lay shaft gear. All right, so I've just gone off the blower to the customer about their engine and gearbox. So I've chatted to them for about half an hour and they've decided that they're going to pull the pin on replacing any more new components. The reason for this is money's getting a little bit tight, and that's not a problem at all. We've all been in this situation, and COVID's been to pretty much every single person in the entire world the last 18 months to almost 2 years now. So what we're going to be doing is everything I've already installed inside the gearbox, I'm going to leave there. A couple of components I'm going to return and get a credit for. That way we can save the customer a bit of money. The reason why I'm going to leave these inside here is solely because of two reasons. One, it cost me a couple $100 to put them in. I'm not too worried about losing that money. And two is I'm gonna have to pull everything back apart to replace everything. So I have informed this customer that everything that we need to do in here is likely going to fix the problem at hand. If we are only replacing 50% of the components, then it's still likely to either maybe grind or not hold gears properly. So because it's only first gear, you know, you're only in first gear for a couple of seconds before shifting to second. It's something he's not overly worried about. So let me just take the time now and just say this is not a practice that I encourage, nor would I do on my own personal car or for someone else. Because the customer has instructed me to do this, I'm doing exactly as they ask. This is their car and is their decision on what they want to do. So we've pretty much got all the components now other than a bearing, which I'll get tomorrow, but we're just going to reassemble it and we're going to keep going. So the next scene that you'll see will be the engine going back onto the gearbox and then hopefully back into the car.